Hi, today is Friday, March 17th, 2023, and I'm Jason Shapiro with Crowded Market Report. Let me start off by apologizing for what's going on with my eye here. I know it can be a little distracting. For the last year and a half, I've been dealing with a detached retina in this eye, which refuses to heal and has left me with about 10 to 20% of vision in this eye. And last weekend, this eye blew out and I've gone blind in this eye, temporarily, but so this past week I've essentially been blind, But I thought it was a really good time to make a video looking at some of this COT stuff because of what's gone on in the last week or two in the markets has been pretty unbelievable. You see a lot of futures traders and CTAs having some of the worst 2-week period in the history of the business. I know that there was a 2-day period in there somewhere where people like Graham Capital were losing 10, 11, 12% in 2 days. I'll say this, that this past week, which was extremely volatile across markets, I made money every day this past week while blind. And I think that there may be, I guess I could come up with 2 explanations for how that happens. One is it was blind luck. And 2, what I like to believe, something that I say very often, is it's not me, it's COT, right? And I'll tell you something, I've been trading using the COT as the main data set that I use to try and target trades now for about over 20 years. And I have not had a down year in 20 years. Working on 21 years, I have not had a down year. And again, that's not because of me, it's because of the COT data. And I've heard the entire time from people that, COT really isn't that good. We've tested it. We've looked at it. There's nothing there. There's no value there. Okay. And if you have no down years in the last 20 years, then by all means, ignore everything I say about this stuff. But I'm here to tell you that I've been trading this for 20 years and I have caught moves. And clearly I've had many losing trades, but I have caught moves that you wouldn't have gotten any other way. Okay, every single currency intervention that has happened in those 20 years, I have been on the right side of. I don't know any central bankers. I don't know what they're going to do, right? Moves like what happened this week that seemingly came out of nowhere and out of a panic situation, I've caught, okay? And it's all because of the COT data, and I'm going to show you. What I did was, these are the COT charts, but I put them back 2 weeks, right? So this is what would have showed up on your desk for the COT charts 2 weeks ago, all right? I think it's on March 3rd, right? And this is the fixed income charts. Let's start with those, right? I apologize if I'm not seeing it right because I really can't see this, but I have some help. But this is the 2-year chart. These are the speculators. Look at how short they are, right? 5 years, short. 10 years, mega short, right? 30 years, short, and they have been this way for the last 4 or 5 weeks, right? It was when they really started to get crazy in here, right? In here, right? When the speculators really started to get crazy short, right? And this speaks to a bunch of things to me, right? First of all, okay, the way I trade this, as I've talked about a million times, I wait till these guys get really short, then I look for a market to not go down on bad news, and I get long, okay, and I pick the turn. And I did do that. I bought the 10 years, a few weeks ago, and this is all right on my weekly newsletter, where I talk about the trades that I did, and on our Discord page, we talked about it live time. We've been talking about that this stuff has been crowded. We've been waiting for a news failure event. Here was the news failure event. I'm buying it here, all right? But you don't necessarily have to trade like I trade to use this data to help you, right? I'm a turn picker. That's how I pick turns. Maybe you're a trend follower. Well, if you were a trend follower and you're looking at this COT data and seeing how short everybody is fixed income, and you're short fixed income, all it takes is to say, something, maybe I shouldn't be this short fixed income, right? It's so crowded, okay? Crowded trades is where problems can occur, right? Maybe I should reduce my position here. It would have saved you, whoever you are, that 10% 2-day loss. I'm sure that a good portion of where those big losses came from the trend followers was in fixed income, because here they are, mega short. That's what these blue lines are, essentially, are the trend followers, right? They're mega short. The thing ripped in their face. Now, people are going to say, I've heard this for 20 years. Well, there's no way you could have known that whatever, that bank was going to blow up or whatever. And they're absolutely right. There is no way I could have known. And you know what? There's no way they could have known either. And there's no way anybody could have known, because nobody sees the future, right? And this is what the COT does, okay? It sets you up in good risk-reward trades. That's it, right? You use discipline, right? You use bankroll management, which means you size your trades right. You use stops. You let the winners run in your process. But it sets you up in good risk-reward trades. That's it. And that's all trading is over time, is getting into good risk-reward situations. And when it works, making big, and when it doesn't work, losing small. That's all trading is. It's just like counting cards at a casino, right? You count the cards. When the count's in your favor, that's when you bet, right? This is the only way to beat a casino, right? Over time, is counting cards, right? Card count gets in your favor, that's when you bet. And it's like someone saying, oh, well, you couldn't have known that the dealer was going to pull a 10 there to go over 21 and you were going to win. You're right. I couldn't have known, but I had the odds in my favor because I was counting cards. So the odds are in my favor. I managed my bankroll correctly, and over time I've made money because I only bet when the odds are in my favor. That's all COT does. That's why it's so important. That's why positioning is so important, okay? You can sit here and tell me that the reason the 10 years went up, but the 2 years went up, or the 5, is because the market in a week went from pricing in 50 basis point rate rise coming up to 25 basis point, rate cut. And that's why fixed income went up so much, okay? And I will argue that fixed income went up so much because everybody was super short going into it, okay? That's it, all right? I don't think they're gonna cut 25 basis points. Maybe it went up that much. People got squeezed and they gotta get out of these shorts, and it ripped, all right? That's what happened, full stop. I'm going to show you some more if I can see them. This is positioning for the Dow, all right? And you see, speculators are a little short, but nowhere near sort of where maximum positioning. So it's more neutral than anything else, right? This is, again, coming in 2 weeks ago. NASDAQ, speculators are super short. This is the commercials, which is the opposite of the speculators, super long, right? Speculators super short. This is why I've been long NASDAQ basically all year, right? Since January, since about here. This is, let me just skip. The S&P, all right, they're a little bit short. Not maximum, a little bit short. And this is the Russell, which is where speculators are the least short. So if you're looking at the stock market, before any of this bank crap happened, you'd be saying, I want to be long NASDAQ, right? And if I were looking to be short, the place I want to be short is Russell. Or I could be long NASDAQ, short Russell, if I want to put on sort of a relative value trade, right? This is what COT is telling you. I'm not drawing these charts. As they say, these charts draw themselves, all right? I'm not putting in some kind of trend line or some kind of random number that shows overbought, oversold. This is all there is to the chart, okay? The value of the positioning, that's it. And that's what it's saying. The NASDAQ would be the place to be long. The Russell will be the place to be short. Well, in the 2 weeks that this happened, I have the numbers here. In the 2 weeks from that point, the NASDAQ is up 270 basis points, and the Russell's down 967 basis points. I'd like you to find me a 2 week period where there was a 12% difference between the Russell and the NASDAQ. And again, people will come at me. Oh, well, because the banks went out, got hit, it means that the small companies, which is what the Russell is, will have more trouble borrowing money from here, and the large NASDAQ companies have a bunch of cash, so therefore money went in there because it's seen as a safe haven. Okay, great. These are all great stories in retrospect. There's always an explanation from these people as to why it happened after the fact. But this was giving it to you before the fact, which is where you need to have it if you want to make money trading, okay? Having something after the fact, coming up with the reasons after the fact, it doesn't do shit, all right? Having this information before the fact does do shit, all right? This is how you get risk-reward trades in your favor, all right? And this is the COT, and this is why it is so important, all right? And I'm just gonna give you one more, which was in grains, all right? And by the way, like the dollar, for example, wasn't showing anything crowded and wasn't doing anything like that. But here's wheat. Again, 2 weeks ago, speculators unbelievably short at this point, right? In wheat. So you're looking to get long wheat there. And soybean meal, speculators super, super long. You're looking to get short. Short soy meal, long wheat. And understand something. I'm a kid from the suburbs of Jersey, all right? I don't know the first thing about wheat or soy meal, okay? This is all I know. In these 2 weeks, Soy meal down 3.5%. Okay. Wheat up 0.5%. Why? I'm sure somebody will come up with some kind of reason. Ukraine, wheat, exports, weather, something. I don't know what they're going to come up with. All I'm telling you is that speculators were super short wheat and they were super long bean meal. And so wheat outperformed bean meal by 4% or whatever in 2 weeks. So this is the point here. This COT is very important, and when times of stress come, like we just had, people clearly start to get out of positions. So what are they getting out of? Well, if they're long, then they're selling their longs, and those things are going down, Russell, right? And if they're short, then they're covering their shorts, and therefore those things are going up, NASDAQ, right? That's why this stuff works so great in times of stress, and this is a great stress test for this, right? This was a period of stress, and this stuff worked exactly how it should, right? So I just think it's so super important to do this, right? And I want to get into what we do at Crowded Market Report, where we basically have 3 main things. We produce these charts, which I can tell you are the best COT charts out there, okay? Because we started it from scratch, and we cover more markets than anybody else, and we have interactive charts. We can change the dates, look back, you can combine charts, you could take all the stock indices and turn them into one chart. Do all kinds of things like that. Very interactive. You get those charts. I put a newsletter every weekend, okay, where I go through all the COT data across assets and sort of put it all together in one big picture, as this is what the COT data is saying across the different assets, and therefore this is most likely what the markets are going to do here. And then sometimes I'll back into maybe, therefore this might be what the economic numbers are going to say, but it's more about what the markets are going to do, because I could care less about the economic numbers, okay? And 3, we have a Discord page that not all the members, but a lot of the members get on and they interact, and we talk about COT and we talk about markets and we talk about other trading too. Different people use different trading, and I encourage people to not mimic my trades. That's not the best way to go. I trade this way because this is how I trade. The best thing to do is to use this information to help enhance how you trade. So other people get on the Discord and talk about how they trade and talk about this and that. And look, don't take my word for it, okay? Go on our webpage and look at the testimonials. I didn't force anybody to write these testimonials. We are helping people. And people have said to me, Jason, why do you do this? Why do you give away what you're doing? You're a trader, you make money trading, you run this hedge fund, theoretically you make a bunch of money. Why do you even do this? And my answer is this. After I was in Jack Schwager's book, a lot of people approached me and were sending me emails and LinkedIn and all that, asking me if I could help them learn how to trade. And my answer was always, I'd like to do that, but I can't help hundreds of people at the same time. One person who I said that to said, what about if I put together a web page where everybody could come together? And you could do that. We did that. I didn't know where it was going to go. It turned into a great thing. I love the whole community. I love the fact that it's helping people. I think the important point here is exactly that, right? Like for me, I've spent my entire life trading this way, right? And for the last 20 years, I've made money doing it. And that's great because it puts food on the table for my family and pays for my kids' college education. But what I do essentially, if we really get into it, is I am picking money off of the weakest people that there are. I am looking for the people that have the highest probability of losing money, and I'm taking that. I'm going opposite them, and I'm taking their money. And I don't make any apologies for that, okay? The market is the market is. I buy at the offer and I sell at the bid, okay? I'm not stealing money from anybody, all right? But when you get older, you start thinking about your life, okay, I did that as a living, and that's fine, but is there anything more I did in my life? So this whole thing has turned into like a give back thing, right? I really can help people really figure out how markets actually work instead of the bullshit that you hear on TV all the time. And that makes me feel a lot better about what I've done with my time on earth. This is all I know. So this is all I can give back, right? And so a lesson that I've learned very late in life, and it'd be very hard to understand this early in life anyway, but the more you give, the better off your life is. It's very hard to understand that, but it's 100% true, right? You want to have a happy life, you want to have a fulfilling life, you want to have people around you that like you and respect you and that you like and you respect, the answer is give. The more you give, the more you get back. And this whole thing with my eyes is the perfect example. I can only make this video right now because of the help that some people on the Crowded Market Report have given me. I only got through this week, okay? I can't even spend time looking at the computer. I was in the doctor's office all day Monday. I was in surgery all day Tuesday. I was recovering from surgery all day Wednesday, and I'm still recovering from surgery. And I'm not supposed to do so much screen time. I want my eye to heal so that I'm not going to be blind, right? Well, you know what? There were tons of people from Crowded Market Report that were helping me, right? Calling me up, telling me what the markets were doing, right? Helping me with these charts, helping me put my back office report together, which I can't do, okay? Because I can't see the print. And it just goes to show, the more you give, the more you get back. And that's why I started this Crowded Market Report, okay? And like I say, love to have you there. I think it will help you a lot. The price we have kept very low so that as many people can access this information as possible. We'd love to see you there. If you have any questions or comments on any of this, I'd love to hear them. And I hope everybody has a good week this week in the markets. All right, thank you.